on. So we've talked about the dangers of OnlyFans, and I want to share a story with you of someone who claims to be a feminist, and she is on OnlyFans. I mean, when does it stop? When does it stop, this feminism thing? Um, with being she's a feminist and she's on OnlyFans. So I'm going to read that story to you, and let's get into that. Okay, so here it is. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Okay, here we go. Remove that. So this is an article on a site called Midlife Slices. And it says, I'm a feminist on OnlyFans. My body, my choice. All right. It says, I'm a feminist and I am proud to announce to the world I am also an artistic nude and a fashion fitness active and wear and a fantasy model with an OnlyFans profile. So she's pretty proud about what she does. So let me share that with you. If you think the two, my deeply held feminist values and my lifestyle choices can't coexist or feel confusing, I beg to differ. Honestly, how can I proclaim that I'm a feminist supporting the rights of women to do, say, and behave as they please without also believing wholeheartedly that it is also okay for my naked body to be viewed online on my OnlyFans profile? So here she is. She's claiming big and bold she's a feminist, and she supports the rights of women to do, say, and behave as they please. The only part that's missing from this is that she should have said, and without accountability. Because modern women today think that they can do, say, and behave as they please without any accountability. So that part, she really should have put that part in. So she believes all those things, and that it's okay for her to put her naked body to be viewed online on her OnlyFans profile. She goes on to say, feminism is about women's rights to choose, to be equal, and to have autonomy over how they use and show their bodies, among other things. And what more perfect an example of this than a woman who loves herself and respects herself enough to be paid for that very expression? So she loves herself so much and she respects herself so much, enough for her to be paid to show herself online, show her naked body online, and to show that expression of who she is. So this is feminism. This is the modern feminism that encourages and, what's the word? Indoctrinate modern women into believing that that they can do, say, do whatever they want without accountability, and that they can show their bodies however, because after all, it's their body, their choice, right? So she goes on and talks about all the things why, you know, she's doing this. So then in the end, she says, so what has OnlyFans got to do with feminism? Some of you might believe that making my photos available on OnlyFans for people to subscribe to and view is a modern form of prostitution, you think? What a sellout, you may think. You're just pandering to men's desires to objectify women's bodies, or What on earth does your partner think? To anyone who thinks or say things like this, and trust me, they do, I'll say you're wrong. For years, decades, centuries, even men have seen women's bodies as freely available commodities that they have the power and right to use, explore, and view on a whim. It is an ingrained belief system that shows up in the behaviors of men across cultures and demographics. It's behaviors that men are solely conditioned to accept from and even encourage of among other men. And while the tide is certainly turning slowly, internet dating, for all the joys it brings, can often only exacerbate the problem. How many men have paid for your meal or entertainment, then expected sex in return? There is still some entitlements felt by men over women's bodies. As a survivor of sexual abuse and assault by men, I experienced this firsthand. And she goes on to say, I'm a whole woman, so I've reclaimed my body, my whole self, my childhood, love of self-expression through the art of photography and the beauty of a woman's body, my body. If people want to enjoy that, they can invest. They can invest their time and money just like I've invested mine to create the images to begin with. You may or may not agree with this, of course. That's okay. How I choose to show up in the reclamation of my body, my sensuality, my sexuality, and my experience of how I choose to share my energy and my joy is mine and mine alone. And that includes my OnlyFans profile. Wow, wow, wow. Here she's talking about all the men who has viewed women's bodies at their whim, who feel like they have, um, the right to look at a woman's body whenever and however. So on one hand, she's saying really that it's men's fault because men are the ones who continue to want to see women half naked and naked and showing their body fully on in frontal arenas for men to see. So it's men's fault. But yet, she's over here doing the same thing that she's complaining that the men want. Help me to understand this. Please help me to understand the madness because how can you talk out of the both sides of your mouth? Like I don't understand it. It's just crazy to me. Do you think this woman is sane? That she's complaining that it's a man's fault or men's fault because for centuries, for years, men have viewed women's bodies that they felt entitled. But yet, if women stop sharing and stop giving of themselves and displaying their body, wouldn't have anything to see, right? You're fueling the marketplace for this kind of content. So at the end of the day, now let me preface this by saying there are a number of women and younger children and young women who are in this arena not by choice. They're either forced, they're coerced, they do it against their will. And my heart goes out to those who are in it and can't get out of it. Not because that they don't want to, but because they're being forced to do this kind of stuff against their own will. The women, the modern women that I'm talking about in this show today is the women who are not being forced to do it, who does this by their own will, through their own actions, through their own decisions. Okay, they've decided. They're not being forced. They're not being coerced. They don't have to do it just to eat. They don't have to do it just to live, to survive. The women I'm talking about have the ability to do it are not to do it, and they choose to do it. They choose to not go and get a regular job. They choose to do this kind of work. And they want us to believe that this is normal work because you're selling your body. Now, before you feminists come for me telling me that sex work is work, I don't agree. And that's my opinion. We don't have to agree on it. So I just wanted to preface that because I know that this is a um a very sensitive topic when it comes to women and the opportunities that are out there and some of the situations that presents itself in this life. Unfortunately, it's um it's sad. It's very sad. So my heart goes out to those women, but I'm not talking to those women today. This is for the ones who do it, who does it deliberately.